Okay, let's go ahead and unpack this. We all have that one thing in our kitchen, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like maybe it's a specific cast iron skillet
Yeah.
that has literally never seen a drop of soap in 40 years.
Or a totally tattered recipe card that's stained with vanilla extract from like 1995.
Yes, exactly. And we talk about secret ingredients all the time. Grandma's pinch of nutmeg or that specific brand of hot sauce you just can't get anymore.
Right.
But usually when we say a meal has heart or soul, we're speaking metaphorically. We're talking about the love and the time poured into the preparation.
Exactly. It's this idea of intangible heritage. Food is a vessel for memory. When you taste a dish prepared by a loved one, you aren't just consuming calories. You are participating in a ritual of connection.
Hmm.
You're tasting history. But what happens when that connection becomes, well, let's say a little too literal?
Right, and that is exactly where we are going today. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are looking at a narrative source today titled The Seasoning in the Pink Can.
Yeah, quite a title.
It is, and on the surface, if you just read the first half, this reads like a classic, really heartwarming story about a family pulling together after a tragedy. You've got the hardworking single mom, the responsible son, the grieving grandmother.
It's got all the makings of a feel-good movie you'd watch on a Sunday afternoon.
It really does. So our mission today is to unpack these themes of resilience, the burden of family secrets, and, well, the shocking irony found in the climax of this story.
Yeah, because it explores the sandwich generation, right? Squeezing both childcare and elder care, and the way grief just totally reshapes family dynamics.
Yeah.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it also serves as a massive cautionary tale.
Oh, absolutely. A cautionary tale about communication and the assumptions we make about those sentimental objects we keep around the house.
For sure.
Because the ending of this story, I mean, I have read a lot of wild stuff for our deep dives, but this one made my jaw actually hit the floor.
Yeah, I was not expecting it at all.
No, it effectively redefines the phrase, putting your soul into the food. But before we get to the twist, and trust me, you are going to want to stick around for this twist because it is unforgettable, we really need to set the stage.
We do. We need to understand the Billingsley family and the absolute pressure cooker they were living in.
And specifically, the pillar of that family, Lachey Billingsley. The source paints a really vivid picture of her life.
Lachey is the definition of get it how you live.
Yeah.
The source describes her schedule, and frankly, I got tired just reading it. She works as a housekeeper at sorority houses during the day.
Scrubbing floors, dealing with college messes.
Exactly. And then when the sun goes down, she flips the script and clocks into Waffle House for the night shift.
Which is just a grueling existence. We are seeing a woman who is operating on pure survival mode. And the context here is vital for you to understand. The source notes that her son, Xavier, was the result of a one-night stand.
Right. And the father took zero responsibility.
Zero. So Lachey has been the provider and the protector from day one. She doesn't have a safety net. And now there's a massive new stressor. Her father, Mitchell Billingsley, has just passed away.
That is a huge blow. So she's grieving, she's working two physically demanding jobs, and now she is stepping up as the matriarch of the family.
Yeah, she doesn't want her mother, LaQuandra, living alone in the big family house now that Mitchell is gone. So Lachey is arranging for her mom to move in with her.
And she's got her sister, Sangria, handling the logistics of the move, selling the old place. But the mental load of what happens next is entirely on Lachey.
This is a classic example of the burden often placed on single mothers in these communities. She is the emotional and financial anchor. But what's fascinating here is the dynamic with her son, Xavier.
He's 16.
Right. And in a lot of stories, a teenager in this situation might be depicted as rebellious or checking out because the parent is always working. But Xavier is described as the man of the house now.
I loved the description of Xavier in the text. He's not out there chasing clout on the streets. He sees how hard his mom grinds.
He sees the fatigue in her eyes when she comes home between shifts.
Exactly. He wants to be part of the solution. So here's the setup. Lachey is out working that double shift. Sangria is bringing Grandma LaQuandra to the house. And Xavier decides he's going to surprise everyone.
He wants his mom to walk in and not have to lift a single finger, which is a noble goal.
And he doesn't do this halfway. This isn't just a, hey, I took the trash out, mom kind of thing.
Not even a little bit. He goes full Danny Tanner on the house.
No.
The source says he had the floors gleaming like a fresh pair of 11s.
Right.
He's cleaning, he's tidying, but the main event is the kitchen. He decides to cook a massive soul food dinner for the whole family to welcome his grandmother. And we aren't talking about throwing a frozen pizza in the oven.
No, this is a labor of love.
Yeah.
He's preparing a menu that is specifically designed to comfort. And if you know anything about this cuisine, you know it takes serious time.
Oh, let me just list this spread because it sets the sensory scene perfectly. We're talking 24-karat gold mac and cheese, fried chicken with the seasoned flour, potato salad, baked beans with brown sugar and bacon, candied yams and cornbread. I mean, I'm getting hungry just talking about it. This is an absolute feast.
It's a menu of pure comfort. These are high-effort dishes. But this is where the details become crucial for what happens later. Cooking, especially this kind of cooking, relies heavily on seasoning.
It's all about the flavor profile.
Right. It's about replicating that specific taste that says home.
And Xavier, being the observant son that he is, knows that his mom has a secret weapon. So he goes to the kitchen windowsill.
And there, sitting in the sunlight next to the recipe box, is a faded pink seasoning can.
He's been there forever.
And to him, that can represents his mother's culinary magic. It's placed prominently right next to the recipes. The logic is totally sound here. Special dinner, special seasoning.
He assumes this is the good stuff she saves for holidays.
Exactly. So he grabs this pink can, he sprinkles this magic over the yams, he dusts it into the potato salad. He's thinking, I'm going to make this taste just like Mama makes it.
He believes he is adding that final touch of excellence. He's seasoning the flour for the chicken. He is going all in.
And in a narrative sense, he is performing an act of inheritance. He is taking the tools of his mother and grandfather and using them to care for the family. It's a beautiful moment of a young man stepping into a caretaking role.
He wants to prove he can provide that same warmth his grandfather did. So the stage is set, the house is spotless, the food is hot, the smells are wafting out the door, and then the family starts to arrive.
First, it's Aunt Sangria and Grandma Loquandra. They walk in and they are stunned.
The sensory details here are so important. Loquandra, the grandmother, immediately comments on the smell. She says, that smells like Mitchell's favorite. She tells Xavier he used his mama's touch.
That is high praise. For a 16-year-old boy to get the stamp of approval from his grandma on soul food, that's huge.
But the real test is Lachey. She pulls up in the driveway, and you can hear the exhaustion in the description. The heavy car door slam, the jingling keys. She walks in expecting to start her third shift of house chores.
But instead, she is met with peace. She smells the sage and garlic. She sees her family sitting around a table that looks like a banquet. The stress of what's next is replaced by the warmth of right now.
It's a reprieve she didn't think she was going to get. It's such a relief for her that she actually gets emotional. She tells Xavier, Mitchell is smiling down so hard right now.
Now hold that thought. Mitchell is smiling down so hard right now. If we analyze that statement in hindsight,
Oh, man.
the irony is devastating. But in the moment, it is purely a statement of grief and love. They believe the spirit of the grandfather is present in the act of service.
And the dinner itself is a massive success. They are listening to 90s R&B, cracking jokes about sangrias, driving, telling stories about Granddad Mitchell. The source says the food brought the family back to life.
They are eating the chicken, the yams, the potato salad, and they are loving it. Laquandra even says, we might have lost a giant, but we're standing on the foundation he built.
The atmosphere is just perfect. It's the kind of night you remember forever, a moment where grief is paused and the family unit feels whole again. And physically, they're satiated. The itis sets in.
Oh yeah, that heavy, comfortable post-meal drowsiness where you just want to unbutton your pants and nap.
Which leads us to the living room. Plates are cleared. Everyone is full and happy. Sangria pulls out a leather-bound photo album. Now here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, this is the turning point.
They're flipping through old pictures, and Xavier stops on a Polaroid. It's a picture of Lachey when she was a little girl, maybe 7 or 8, standing on a milk crate next to her dad, Mitchell.
And what is she holding?
She is holding a bright, metallic pink can. It's shiny and new in the photo, looking like a trophy. Xavier looks at the photo, and then he looks over at the windowsill where that faded pink can is sitting right now.
And he makes the connection.
He says, Yo, Ma, that's the same one, ain't it?
This is the pivot point. The object in the photo connects the past to the present. Lachey confirms it. She goes into this beautiful monologue about the history of that can.
She tells them that Mitchell gave it to her as a way to create her own legacy. He told her, as long as you got your flavor in this can, your table will never be empty. It was meant to hold her signature seasoning blend.
It was a symbol of independence and provision. A father teaching his daughter that she has the power to nurture.
Exactly. But then Lachey drops the bomb. She explains that she's been using that can for 20 years for spices. But recently, since Mitchell passed, She decided to repurpose it. She wanted to use it as a keepsake.
And here is the disconnect. Xavier knows what he used the can for just 2 hours ago.
Right.
Lachey knows what she put inside the can just a few days ago. But they haven't aligned those two facts yet.
Lachey says, I cleaned it up, put some of Daddy's ashes in it, and put it on the windowsill next to the recipe box.
Pause. Just pause.
She put her father's ashes
In the seasoning can.
and placed it next to the food ingredients.
And then she delivers the line that turns this tragedy into a literal horror story. She says, "Seeing you threw down in the kitchen tonight, well, I know that's Mitchell living through you, son. You kept the flavor going."
Oh my God. The realization hits Xavier like a freight train. The source says his pride turns into an actual panic attack. He's looking at his mom, his grandma, his aunt. They are all full.
They just ate the potato salad.
They just ate the yams. And he realizes the food wasn't just made with love, it was seasoned with Granddad.
It is a moment of absolute cognitive dissonance. The physical sensation of being full and satisfied totally clashes with the intellectual realization of what they have just consumed. The source describes it as a cold sweat breaking out.
And Lachey sees his face. She sees the horror, and the wheels start turning for her too. She realizes the can was on the sill. She realizes Xavier cooked. She pulls him into a hug, but she whispers in his ear, and this is the most desperate whisper in history.
Zay, please tell me that you only use the seasonings in the seasoning rack and not the pink can.
She is begging for an alternative reality. She needs him to say it isn't true. She needs him to say, no, Mom, I just used the Lowrys.
But Xavier can't lie to her. Not really. He just whispers back, "I'm so sorry, Mama," and starts crying.
And now we have a split in the reality of the room.
This is what fascinates me about this story. You have the knowers, Lachey and Xavier, who are living in a waking nightmare, and you have the unknowers, Loquandra and Sangria, who are still basking in the glow of a wonderful meal, thinking Xavier's crying tears of emotion and love.
The source says Lachey is fighting the urge to vomit. I mean, can you imagine? You just ate your father, but she looks at her mother, Loquandra. Loquandra is happy. She's at peace. She feels loved and cared for.
This raises an incredible ethical dilemma in real time. Do you tell them? Do you scream out the truth and purge the poison? Or do you swallow the secret to preserve the peace?
Lachey makes the call. She hugs Xavier tighter. They compose themselves. They do not say a word to the rest of the family. The source ends with them sitting in silence.
It says the house was silent, save for the steady heartbeat of a family that knew how to survive, how to grind, and most importantly, how to love.
That definition of love is so complicated.
In this moment, love means carrying a burden so that others don't have to. It means protecting the grandmother's memory of that night, even if it means the mother and son have to live with this horrific knowledge forever.
And there's a PS to the story. It says, Xavier and Lachey never told Sangria or Loquandra. To this day. Lachey just moved the ashes in the recipe box to her bedroom dresser the very next morning.
So the secret held. The grandmother lived the rest of her days, or however long, believing that meal was just a triumph of culinary skill. She never knew the specific ingredient that made it so special.
So what does this all mean for us as the reader? We started this deep dive talking about family recipes and putting your soul into the food, but this is literal consumption of the ancestor.
Well, if we look at this from an anthropological perspective, endocannibalism, which is consuming parts of the dead, is actually a funeral rite in some cultures. Yeah, it's meant to keep the spirit of the loved one within the community. It's a way of ensuring they never truly leave. Now, obviously, this was accidental and horrific for them in a modern context, but there is a strange poetic symbolism here. Loquandra said, "We are standing on the foundation he built. She was physically nourished by him that night."
That is a very generous and distinct way to look at it. I think I'd just be traumatized for the rest of my life. But you're right about the duality. For the grandmother, it was the perfect night. For Xavier and Lachey, it's a bond of silence. They are now co-conspirators in the ultimate family secret.
It binds them together. They have survived poverty, they have survived the grind, and now they're surviving the secret. It shows the strength of Lachey. She prioritized her mother's peace over her own revulsion. That is a fierce, albeit twisted, form of protection.
It really is. It's also a massive lesson in labeling. Please, to you listening, if you are going to store cremated remains in the kitchen, put a sticker on the can, or maybe just don't keep them next to the nutmeg.
A very practical takeaway. Context cues matter. A pink seasoning can on a kitchen windowsill implies food. You can't blame the boy for using what was available.
Exactly. If it's in the kitchen, it's getting cooked. But
Yeah.
looking back at the text, the irony of the dialogue is just so sharp. When Lachey said, You kept the flavor going.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know if I can ever hear that phrase again without shuddering.
It changes the entire texture of the story. You read it the first time, and it's sweet. You read it the second time, knowing the ending, and it's a dark comedy of errors. But it also speaks to the resilience of this specific family. They take what life throws at them, even this, and they keep moving.
It really is wild.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder about Xavier. He's 16. That is a core memory now. Every time he sees potato salad, he's going to have a flashback.
But he also learned something profound about adulthood that night. Adulthood isn't just about paying bills or cleaning floors. Sometimes it's about holding the chaos inside so the people you love can feel safe. He became a man that night, not just because he cooked, but because he kept the secret. He absorbed the shock so his grandmother didn't have to.
That's deep and true. He took the hit. He and his mom took the hit together. It's a secret that probably brought them closer in a very weird way.
They did. And in a way, Mitchell really was there. He was part of the conversation, he was in the photos, and well, he was at the table.
Okay, we're going to leave it there before we make ourselves sick thinking about the potato salad. This has been a deep dive into the seasoning in the pink can, a story that reminds us that family secrets come in all flavors.
And that sometimes the things we leave behind become part of us in ways we never intended.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We always say we want to keep our loved ones with us forever. We talk about carrying them inside us metaphorically. But if you were the grandmother in this literal situation, would you want to know?
That is the ultimate question.
Would you want the truth? Or is the illusion of that perfect love-filled dinner more valuable than the reality of what was in that pink can? Does the secret taint the memory of that perfect night or protect it?
It's the question of the noble lie. Is ignorance truly bliss?
Think about that the next time you reach for the secret seasoning. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Catch you next time.